It's a competition clinching shot. Whoa! How about that?
The LET Golf Podcast, the official podcast of the Ladies European Tour.
Trish Johnson, thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
19 wins on the LET and now a USGA major winner. Victory at the US Women's Senior Open. I mean, how does that sound now?
Yeah, it still feels a little bit surreal, to be honest. Talk about major champions, obviously, that's not really in my thinking, but to win a USGA event is, every time you go out there, they talk about USGA events, whether it's amateur championships or anything, is such a huge thing. And obviously I've never really come close to winning a US amateur. Well, close. I think I lost in the semi-finals or quarter-finals, but it was just something I wanted to do, and I finished second and third.
Yeah.
And you sort of feel like I'm getting older. The 50-year-olds are coming in, if you like, and think, oh, have you sort of missed your time? But this year I've been playing really well. Not playing a lot, but practicing hard, playing well, and I just had a thought that just take that onto the golf course, and I suddenly started putting well. I had a bit of a tip from Flick Johnson a couple months back, a lesson she had, and she just mentioned something that someone told her about putting stroke, and I just sort of resonated with me, and I just thought, oh, that could really work for me, because it sounds like I've got the same sort of issue. And ever since then, my putting stroke has improved beyond belief, sort of, if you look at it on video. And I'm a big believer in, you get better because your technique's getting better. And if I'm looking for stuff and I know it's good, that will give me enormous confidence. And yeah, I've been putting better, putted well at the Senior LPGA until the crunch came, and then not so good. But this time on very tricky greens as well. They were extraordinary, probably the most undulating greens I've ever played, I should imagine. I mean, there were hardly any pin positions on some of these greens. They were extraordinary. And I probably in 4 days, I maybe had 1 3-putt and hold a lot of clutch putts. So it was a lot of, I'd like to say it was a lot of fun, George. It wasn't really. It was incredibly nerve-wracking. But when the final putt went in, it's just so much relief. And I got to be honest, I haven't stopped grinning since. It's like one of those things. I've never experienced it before with a win, but just this one just feels very, very sweet.
I can imagine, yeah. And I know your post-winner's speech was great, and you said how knackered you were. I mean, is that still the case now? I know you've just touched back in the UK, haven't you?
Yeah, it was a long flight back. Obviously, there were delays because of what's going on at Heathrow and stuff. But I saw some friends, stayed at Laura's the night I got back, which was great, and had a nice little bit of champers and dinner, and then went to a friend's house, had lunch with a friend actually yesterday, and then went to my best mate's house for dinner and some celebrations and stuff. And I've literally just got home about 2 hours ago. And I thought, cross, I've got to be back in Boston on Tuesday. So it's going to be interesting. But no, it's not. And amazingly, so I went down the golf club on the way back. I thought I'd go down to P&K because that's my club. I went in the pro shop. So all the boys were in the pro shop. Everybody sort of knew. It was brilliant. All sort of congrats. And the amazing thing is, so Parl and Kenfig have just won the women's team championship, Welsh team championships. The men have won the team championships, and they've won every team championship around. So they've won all 10 this year. Wow. Which has never been done before. And then I waltzed in, and they, that win, and we were all sort of, everybody was sort of organising a sort of, I don't know, one of those days at the golf club where everybody's going to turn up, and it's going to be epic, I think.
Yeah, everyone's on cloud nine by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's just been a brilliant year. And also, one of the lads, the scratch handicappers at the golf club, he caddied for Alex Checker.
When he won the men's senior.
The men's senior. So it's been a brilliant year for P&K. So I'm
do some scratch cards or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. And just finally on that, then, I mean, I loved how the final day was sort of billed as the Battle of the Brits. You going up against obviously a close friend, fellow LET legend in Catriona Matthew and Beanie. Just tell us about that battle on the final day.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit weird because obviously Annika was in front of us, a couple of groups in front, so that's where all the crowd. I mean, there weren't huge crowds, which was a little bit disappointing. Not massive crowds, but. It was a hilly golf course. I'm not wholly surprised. So most of the crowds were with Annika because one, probably they expected her to win, and two, she's Annika. So fair enough. So me and Beanie it was quite nice. It was like a little stroll for the first, whatever holes. It's like you're playing in your own sort of medal back at the club. Look, the thing is with Beanie is she's such a good player. I haven't actually played with her that much. if I'm honest. Very, very rarely. We played in a team event together with Alison Lee in one of the Aramco events in New York a couple of years ago. And outside of that, I honestly can't even remember being paired with her ever. When we chatted about that. So it was, I know how good she is, obviously, but I was just trying to, I just thought, well, if I can play as well as I did on Saturday, then the chances are I'll win because I played great. I'm already leading. And you just think, well, if you can replicate that, and that's easier said than done, obviously, on the last day when you're, a little bit nervous. And I started really well. Hit 3 lovely iron shots into the first 3 holes, all over the flag. And then I hit a poor tee shot on 4. And I did incredibly well to make a bogey. I got up and down from, I don't know, about 20 yards for bogey, which was huge. Binny was playing well. She actually, she was playing really well. She had a lovely tee shot into 9 right behind the flag. And that was a little bit of a turning point because I hit a pretty naff shot, to be perfectly honest. It was pin high, but it was pretty awful. And I holed the putt and she missed. So she looked like she was going to have a 2-shot swing, and actually it was 2 shots the other way. But then she made birdie at the next. It was nip and tuck. 14 was big. She hit a lovely tee shot. I hit a good tee shot, but got a horrid bounce. So I had about 40 foot down the hill, and I thought it was really quick. And it was quick, but not that quick. And I left it about 10 foot short. She's got about 10 footer for birdie. I had a 10 footer for par. She missed. I made, and then I hit 2 really good shots the next 2 holes. Iron shots, made 2 birdies, and had a 2-shot lead. Nothing was ever going to be easy. Made bogey at 17, so now it's nervy again, coming down 18. Letta Lindley's just finished as well at 3 under. Which I didn't actually know, but Binny was on 3 under, so it didn't, make that much difference. So I just knew if she didn't birdie, I needed to make par, and thank God I somehow did make par. And then, it was a bit madhouse after that. Alfie and I think it was Niels Mark and Patricia Mounier had some champers, and it ended up all over me, which normally I'm not a great fan of, but to be perfectly honest, in this particular respect, it felt pretty good.
The problem is, I feel like with Celine Boutier's win in France, that set the bar now for champagne celebrations.
Well,
Since then, it seems like everyone's doing it to another level.
Well, I've got to be honest. I mean, the water thing I just think is ridiculous because you don't celebrate with water. Don't throw water. Don't embarrass people by throwing water. But but that champagne over booty, I've never seen anything like that. It was like it was frothed up champagne. It was incredible. That was the best thing I've ever seen, I think, as a celebration. But it was quite a nice feeling. And then the sort of celebrations afterwards were really great. I have to say, the USGA, they are something else when it comes to, I had a flight that I couldn't make because they told me I had to do all these things, and I was and they just sorted the flight. They sorted everything. They were utterly amazing. So fair play to them. They run an incredible championship. It was top notch, top to bottom.
That'd be good to go back next year then as the defending champ. I mean,
it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
And we got to touch on the fact that it's actually your second win of the season, Trish. Obviously a winner technically again on the LET at the Aramco event out in Florida. We're counting it. Just like I'm counting this as a major. We're counting it. But yeah, just tell us about that week as well. I mean, that looked like you had a great team. Obviously, these Aramco events are always fun, aren't they? So
yeah, I was very lucky that week. I had Rousson and Illustrious, yeah. Rousson, what a character she is. Yeah, Pauline, she played great. Yeah, she played. And I have to say, our amateur. I'll be very honest because I don't think Michael will mind me saying this. So this guy turns up. We're just about to tee off, and the amateur's not turned up, and looking at each other, and and your amateur is a massive part of the Aramco thing because if you don't get a good one, you've got no chance. Let's be honest. And this fella turns up, and he's all, he's a real American. He's and we're thinking, oh god, this is going to be, and he was brilliant. He was brilliant the whole time. He really, he knew. When he came in, he was a good player. I think he played off. I'm not quite sure if it was about 8 or 9, something like that. But it was good.
Single figures, wasn't it?
And he knew when to not mess about and stuff, and when to get out of the way. He was absolutely brilliant. And funny enough, I saw him again at Centurion because he played there because he lives in London, and he was a massive part of that team. And he was great. He was really good fun. Nuria played amazingly well for those first 2 days. She was leading, I think, going into the singles. And Pauline was great. So, and if I'm honest, I didn't play very well. I played well the second day, and I was going quite good. I think it was level par or whatever. And we had to finish. We finished on 15, 16, 17, 18 to play. So we finished with 4 holes to play because it was dark because there was a rain day. And we'd played great, and I had played pretty decent and sort of become involved, made a few birdies and whatever that counted. And if we'd have carried on and finished that day, we'd have comfortably won because we were just cruising. And it was the fact that we had to then come back the next day and finish 4 holes. I think I went, if I'm honest, I think I went 10, 5, 6, 6. I think that was my finish. So even though we won, it was a real anticlimax for me personally because I played all.
Because you're still thinking about the individual, aren't you, to an extent, or at least your own
I want
game?
to make the cut. I don't want to go to an LET event and just I want to make, and I would have made the cut quite comfortably the day before. And it was just awful. And I felt it's very hard to celebrate something, regardless of when you feel pretty crappy. So even though we won a team event, if it had finished the day before, it would have been amazing. And I think maybe as well for Nuria, going back out there as leading, she might have had a night to calm down and just, whereas, she had a bit of a shock. Although I'm really chuffed to see that she won a few weeks ago.
Well, I was just about to say that. I think her winning in Marseille almost made up for it to an extent, and the home win, that was amazing, I thought.
Really.
She's deserved it. She's been playing well this year. So.
Yeah, she has. And when you watch her play, I mean, she's one that I have no doubt, just a little bit of sort of cleaning up around the line, she'll be your Solheim Cup, hopefully, next year.
Yeah.
Because she's so talented. She's amazing. And she's such a nice kid as well. She's brilliant.
No, good stuff. Now then, Trish, we do like to go back on this podcast, and you obviously are a legend on our tour, the LET. So for those sort of not familiar, I mean, how did your golf journey begin?
Well, my dad really. Well, I had 3 older brothers, and my dad played, and we lived in a place called Westwood Ho, really close to a golf course called Royal North Devon, which, for anybody that knows anything about golf, is a very, very famous old golf course, one of the oldest around. So I started playing. My younger brother, well, we're all 3 years different. So David's the eldest, Bry's 3 years younger than David, then Alex 3 years younger than, and me 3 years younger than Al. And me and Al used to play everything together, really. We badminton, tennis, football, you name it. And Alex started playing golf, so I started playing golf, which really annoyed him intensely because I don't think he wanted his younger sister hanging around with him. But my middle brother, Brian, was a professional for a while. So he was an assistant pro when he turned pro, I think, at 18. He was a good player. So I just started playing, and then probably from the age of, I think at 13, I played off 7, and round about that age, I just always knew I was going to be a professional, or thought, whether you know or not, always thought I'm going to be a professional golfer. I played my first English girls at 11 years of age, I think. I remember my dad taking me to Chelmsford to play in this, and just got, I had the bug. My very first year, I remember, the final of that was between Steph Jolly and Sue Bamford. And Sue Bamford is actually, she's a referee. She referees on the LET now, every now and again. And first time I'd seen her for donkey's years. And I remember I said to my dad, they got to the final, and I said, Dad, she hasn't got a caddy. Go and ask her if I can caddy for her. And he said, you go and ask her. Oh, God. So I've gone up there and I said, do you need a caddy tomorrow, Sue? And she said, yeah, love one. So I caddied for Sue Bamford in this final of this English girls. I guess she was probably 18 or whatever, and she won on the 23rd hole. So my first sort of experience of just, the biggest championship I've ever been to, I obviously got knocked out in the first round, but was caddying for the winner. And so I just, I think that probably really whetted my appetite. And then, I just started playing amateur tournaments. Well, cut a long story short, I turned pro after the Curtis Cup in the States, which was probably one of the highlights of my career, to be honest, because it was the first time GB&I team had ever won in America, and it was a brilliant team. It was just it's great fun. So turned pro in 87, I think it was.
87, I've got in my notes, Trish, yeah.
Yeah, 1987. And I was very lucky. I won 3 times in my first year. That kind of, I think that is really important to get wins behind you early, because you're always going to have setbacks. And if you've got those wins in the bank, you have confidence that you can come back from that. So that was huge for me, because I had plenty of setbacks. I went straight to the start. I won Q School to go to America. It was very different. It was in Sweetwater, Houston then. So I won that. So I'm expecting to go onto the LPGA now and just, take it by storm, because all my mates are on it. Laura's on it, Karen Lund's on it, Mardy's on it, and all these people. And it didn't quite work out like that, to say the least. My first tournament was good. I played in the last group with Nancy Lopez and Betsy King in the 3rd round. And I thought this is exactly what I'm expecting, and this is going to be great. And I shot 74, not great, but okay. And then the last round, I shot 87 and I finished last. And I was playing with Amy Olcott and Hollis Stacey. I'll never forget this. And I was walking down the 18th and I was so embarrassed. I was almost crying because I was just so embarrassed at how I was playing. It was blowing a gale. It was a tough day, but that's irrelevant. And Hollis Stacey, she just put her arm around me and she just said, just remember this. She said, because in the future, don't worry about today, but that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your career. Don't worry about it. And I was just, oh, okay. Because Hollis had won, I don't know how many tournaments. So it was a real humbler. And I think I missed 10 cuts on the trot that year, but I always kept my card. Had one really good year in the States. I mean, I didn't, 3 wins in 14 years is pretty dire, in all honesty. And I regret not spending more time over there, because I used to literally go and play 15 tournaments, which you had to as an international member, make enough money to keep my card, and then come back and play the whole summer in Europe. So I kind of wish I'd done one or the other to a certain extent. Well, no, I don't wish I'd stayed in Europe. I wish I'd played, probably given myself more chance, because I think I could have won maybe 10, 15 out there if I'd played there full time. But
so why do you think you kept coming back then to
oh,
Europe?
it was very different. I mean, you got to remember there was pretty much no internet. I think the internet only just started when we were first out there, and it was like if you stayed in a house or a hotel, there was only one person could use it.
Yeah.
You couldn't all use it at the same time. So we had no TV, so no sport, none of our, now it's bliss. You go anywhere, you've got some sort of, Sky Sports or whatever. You can watch every football match. You can watch everything you want to watch. And you feel like you're home from home, whatever hotel you're in. But back then it wasn't like that at all.
More of a home thing then, yeah, rather
Very
than
so. Yeah, it was.
the actual
I never
golf.
spent. Oh yeah, no, I love the golf. I love the golf. That wasn't an issue. But I never spent a week away over there. I always came home. And like I say, probably in retrospect, but there's a reason for everything. And maybe I wouldn't have won as many tournaments in Europe. I don't know. So it was a real education, but I loved it. I love competing. I just love playing in tournaments. And there was one year, 93, I think it was. Was it 93? Yeah. Well, so it took me 6 years to win my first tournament over there, and I won in Vegas of all places, which was quite entertaining. And then I won the next week as well. So I won back to back. And then the third week was the Sprint Championship. And it was the first $1 million tournament ever. So I should have played in that to win my third event on the bounce and the biggest tournament ever. I came back and played at Woburn for 90 grand. The Ford Classic. 90,000 total purse against $1 million. And I came back and gave up the chance of winning 3 on the bounce. So that was what I was like. Whether that's stupid or whether it's, I don't know. I look back now and think, what were you doing? Why would you do that? But all my family were coming to Woburn, to the Ford Classic. It was a home event. We did have quite a few in England, I suppose, but you just always felt as an English person you should play in the English event. Laura played as well. It's just one of those things, I guess.
No, I like that. I mean, I feel that's sometimes lost, isn't it, in the modern game? Players not coming back to play their home opens and whatnot. So it's quite admirable at the same time. But I mean, 19 wins on the LET, absolutely extraordinary. I mean, just pick out some of your highlights for us, Trish. I know there's multiple.
I suppose LET ones, the most memorable would have been the Welsh Open at Porthcawl, because all my family lived here, all my friends. I grew up, from 16 to before I turned pro, 21. So for 6 years, I sort of lived here. And I was a member at both golf courses. Pyle and Kenfig was my home club, but I was a member at Royal Porthcawl as well. And so to play there and win in front of all your mates and family was. I don't think and I'm not sure my mum and dad had ever seen me win before. No, they might have. No, they might have, but not for a long time. So that was incredibly special. It doesn't get a lot better than winning you're on your own golf course with all your family and friends there. And that was, I'll never forget this. It's very funny. I don't think Laura will remember this, but so we're at the prize giving, and there's myself, Laura, and I think it was Kirsty Taylor there, and I'd shot 65 last round to beat Laura by 1, I think it was, and she stood there and she just looked at me and she said some expletive which I won't repeat, and just said, "When was the last time you shot 65 to win a golf tournament?" And I said, "About half an hour ago, mate." And her face was a picture. She won't remember that. She'll say that didn't happen, but it did. And it was just so funny. Because let's be honest, you don't very often, and very rarely did I ever get the better of Laura because she was so incredibly good. But we've had a lot of fun, a lot of Solheim Cups, a lot of fun times. And
Yeah, I was going to touch on that friendship because I mean, you came through. I think you won Rookie of the Year 2 years after her or 3 years after her. So you really did, come onto the scene at the same time in English golf. How much did she help you, I guess, and how much did you spur each other on in terms of that competitive edge?
well, I'll be honest. She didn't. It wasn't a case of her spurring me on. I wasn't in the same class. So we really, when we played on the LPGA, Laura used to win. She used to win on a very frequent basis, considering she could have played a lot more over there as well. She played quite a bit in Europe, and there was myself, Karen Lunn, Mardy Lunn, Lisa Hackney, Helen Dobson, and a few others that we were like the backup, and we were all trying to win our first tournament, if you like. Laz is winning she won Phoenix 4 years on the trot. She just win on a regular basis. So we used to spend a lot of time, trying to play as well as we could, watching her play at weekends, probably if we'd missed the cut because she's going to win the tournament. So it wasn't a case. It was never a case of spurring each other on because she would, like I say, to me, she was in a totally different class. But she was the only person. It's a weird one. I guess because I knew her so well, she was the only person that of a top class nature that never made me feel inferior. So if I was playing with someone like Annika or Curry Webb, I used to think, oh Christ, don't make it, Twitter yourself, don't embarrass yourself. But I never did with Laz. Never, and I suppose that's just because she was a mate, and I kind of knew that maybe she rated me, and I just used to love playing with her because I used to love watching someone hit shots that no one else could hit. So it was, it was fun, and it was, so there's a few Solheim Cups we played. It was just some brilliant times.
Yeah, because you paired together in quite a few of them, didn't you?
Well, not a lot. Her and Ali, the first sort of 4 or 5, her and Ali Nicholas always played together.
Right.
And then we played a few I'm not sure if we played too many foursomes. We played 4 balls quite a bit, and we had great fun. We had a brilliant match at St Pierre in '96. We were playing Kelly Robbins and Pat Bradley, and it was a daft one. We were playing so well that in the end we were actually trying to outdo each other to be the person that won the hole because we were playing.
Wow.
I think we were 7 and 6, and it was stupid. It was that doesn't happen very often.
No, I've never heard that before. That's great.
No, it was brilliant fun. You just almost trying you don't want her to hole it because you're trying to beat her to hole it and get in there first. But we had some really good times, and obviously the Solheim Cups that we won, which was not many in mine. I only won ones I was in. I think we won maybe 2 or 3, which is not great out of 8, but they were by far and away the highlight of they so surpass any individual win. It's like it's a feeling you can't replicate because you're doing it for your 11 mates as well, and all your tour mates as well, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. No, well, actually, I was going to mention this. Obviously, this year's Solheim Cups. I think that's a perfect transition point. I mean, you'll be out in Spain, I presume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be commentating. So
yes.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
I mean, how are you looking at it? I know we're the favourites. Europe are the favourites, and I know that a lot is being built of that. I mean, I think it's slightly changed now. Lilia Vu's obviously at the top of the tree in terms of the world rankings, and I think the American team is perhaps stronger than it might have been considered a few months ago. But just how do you look at it, and how do you weigh up the two teams?
Yeah, well, I heard Suzanne say that it's the strongest team we've ever had, and I think she's absolutely 100% right. There's no two ways about that. I think her difficulty is going to be who she leaves out. That's going to be a first without shadow of doubt. But what a position to be in as a captain. That's about as good as it can get. I do think we're overwhelming favourites, but I also just have this nagging little thought about the Americans, as when you really don't expect it, that's when they'll probably turn it on. I do think we'll win because I think the team is exceptional, but I think it may be, the more I think about it, I think maybe a little bit closer than we expect. But the team is just sensational. I just hope they've got the golf wise. The European team is by far and away the best it's ever been. Personality wise, that's what needs to gel because they're quite quiet. I think a lot of the players are quite quiet and a bit introverted even. And as long as there's someone in there to, keep them engaged and just fun. Make it fun, because it can't be too serious. It's, it's about enjoying yourself as well. It's important, of course it is, but the chances are you will play better and enjoy it if there's a buzz going around and there's a bit of a joker in the pack and that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure who that's going to be, really. When I look at the team, I think, like I say, there's a lot of very serious, unbelievable golfers. So hopefully someone, maybe Gemma Driver, or someone like, someone different. That's
I think
first
Gemma's
time.
a great addition for that exact fact. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously her golf's been amazing. She's
exactly.
top 50 in the world now, but that side of it is important, like you say. And I think Gemma's going to be a great addition for that reason.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Hope or maybe someone else. Maybe she'll bring someone else. I feel like Leona. I know she's a very quiet character, but when did I speak to her? At the Open. I was on course, just walking the course on the Monday of the Open, and she was there, and I was chatting to her, and I thought, she seems to be, coming out of herself, a lot more confident, a lot more, and she's such a good player. I think, someone like that stands up, because it's Anna's the leader, Anna Norquist, and quite rightly so. She's an amazing character when it comes to Solheim Cup. But I think, you do need to drag someone else along with you, and you need someone to be a bit vocal. And I think it might be the unexpected one, but someone like Leona, who might just bring her out of the show a little bit, and because I think she could be a bit of fun if you just let herself do that, if you like.
Definitely, yeah. We had her on here a couple of weeks ago, and she had so many stories, and there's the I saw sort of a different side to her, and I thought she was great. So I think you're right, and especially from her record from Toledo, I mean, absolutely, she was the star of the show, and now she comes in with almost an added bit of confidence. Not that she probably needed it, but she'll come in thinking, okay, I'm almost like the go-to player here.
Yeah, and do you know what? If she won at Baltusrol, which really and truly probably, she'll be very disappointed that she didn't. That would have given her even more of that sort of feeling of being the leader, if you like. But I don't think it's long before she'll win a major. I think that's, it's not that easy and it's not a case of, it's just not that easy to win a golf tournament. Of course it's not. It never has been. It's never going to change. But it's not that easy to be in that position of winning a huge tournament like that when you've not done it before. That takes an extraordinary character to just come out and win something like that. And that happens when someone, probably you don't see them again. They might just have that week. And they win a major, and then they're gone. Leona's never going to be like that. She's a top 10 in the world player, So she knows how important it is. She knows, and she'll know next time what happened. What did I do wrong, or did I do anything wrong, or is it just a case of being comfortable in your skin coming down the stretch? So yeah, I don't doubt. Crikey, when I look at our player, you think about her, you think about Georgia, unbelievable player, Georgia. She should, Charlie, Jesus, and then
Celine's just won. Celine won the major and the women's. It's
unbelievable. Yeah. There's just so many, and then you've got the other sort of side. You've got Emily and people like that. Emily Pedersen, who's probably the most talented of the lot. She get you sort her head out. It's an incredible team to have for Suzanne. She's just got to get the dynamic right, and I think the team will fly.
And I've got to ask, and you mentioned there about team camaraderie and the jokers in the pack and having a fun team. What was the funnest team you played in, and who was the biggest joker on your Solheim teams?
Well, we had probably a combination. We had Alfie on nearly all the teams. She wasn't a joker. She's just so loud. I mean, you never get any peace with Alfie, and that's what you need, because she was unbelievably talented. You had Alfie and Liselott Neumann as a pairing, who were just two complete opposites. Lotte was just an absolute diamond and brilliant, and just the loveliest person in the world, as Alfie was. But Alfie was loud and brought music and brought that team vibe. There'd always be music going, and so everything was light-hearted, and she'd always take the mickey and whatever. And then Laura was, exceptional, because she was, at the end of the day, she was the number one player in the world, so she was the team leader.
She had it both, yeah.
She had both, yeah. And she's a sharp cookie. She's always got a comment. She's clever. You don't go up against Laz, because she's, unless you're really savvy, you're going to get annihilated. And that was great. And we had, I think in Mickey Walker, I think she was our captain for the first four. Mickey was fabulous. She was my favourite captain, because she didn't worry about all the, so much goes on these days, and the players need looking after, and go ask them if this is okay. And Mickey was not. Mickey just put the team out. That's the team. Go and play. And we did. Oh, it was brilliant. And it was so simple. And nobody was asking for things that they didn't ever ask for when they just go and do it yourself. You know, I don't need a lackey to go and do it for me. I do it myself when I'm playing every week. Now I'm asking so and so to go and make me a, deconstructed oatmeal bloody. Oh, I don't know. Honestly, no. She was great, and I think that the captain's really important, and I think that's why we've done so well, because we've had great captains. You know, Beanie, dead easy, straightforward, just get it done. Lotta, fabulous, and I think Suzanne will be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's interesting though, because we are going to see a different Suzanne to Suzanne the player, and she's come out and said plenty of times, I'm going to be taking favours from all the captains that I've played under, and there's enough of them. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Suzanne the captain, I think, in Spain.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because obviously she was a bit of a live wire, Suzanne. She was pretty feisty, and she's had some interesting incidents and whatever you want to call it in Solheim Cup, but look, she's a 40-year-old woman with 2 kids now, and I heard her talk to Josh on the Sky Sports podcast. It's a totally different thing. You can hear in her voice what a different character she is, and I absolutely loved that. I listened to that and I was intrigued because it was really, she's obviously gone through some really tough times with the Solheim Cup's been hard, but the one thing about her is she's a competitor and she would never give up. I remember when she was 5 down against Michelle Redman with 5 to play. I think it was I can't remember where it was, but she tied the match. We lost the match, but she tied it. And that's the type of character. Never give up no matter what. And that is it's an unbelievable quality to have, because a lot of players, I think, more comfortable they get with life. You're making lots of money. It's easy if you're having a bad round or a bad week to just, okay, there's next week. Nah, because the golfing gods will get you. You've got to keep fighting all the time, and eventually you'll get your reward. As long as if you don't give up. I'll never forget Ali Nicholas, who was a good mate of mine, and I was going through a really bad patch back in the probably the early 90s, I think, and I was getting angry, because I was hitting it awful, and I didn't really know why I was hitting it awful. And I heard she said a comment, and I think it was to Mickey Walker, and it wasn't said to us. It was, they were talking about it and why I was so angry and what. And Ali said to Mickey that it's easy to beat Trish now because she just gives up. And Mickey told me this, and she obviously told me for a reason. It's like, and I thought about it. I thought, oh my God, really? That's what one of my mates thinks about me. It's like, wow. Okay, I need to look at this.
And that was like a spark, right?
Yeah, absolutely was. And that was it. I obviously had this body language that I don't actually probably think in my own. I'd like to think I didn't give up, but it changed my mindset, because it was like, right, okay, that's not acceptable, because it's embarrassing. It must look embarrassing. My mum and dad would be embarrassed, so I've got to stop that. And it's a big, that's a big thing, not giving up, no matter how bad it is. And even if you're going to miss the cut, and sometimes I play quickly if I'm going to miss the cut, because I just want to get, that's fine. But and I think realistically, as you get older, you get wiser. You learn that you're incredibly lucky to do what you've done your whole career, and that just makes you enjoy. I mean, certainly like last week, the one thing I wanted to do last week was make sure I enjoyed every second of it, because you get older, I'm afraid you lose friends, you lose family, you realise that life is a bit more precious than playing a round of golf. And I just wanted to make sure that everything I did last week, I enjoyed the moment. I knew I was playing well, but I wanted, and I did. And I really, that I think that's why it's so lovely to win it, because the whole experience last week was so exceptional for me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we could tell. No, we could.
Okay.
That's what you're here for. No, we could certainly tell when you won. I think it was incredible. You could just see the emotion. I can still see it now. You're still absolutely beaming, Trish, which is great to see. And I mean, talking of enjoyment, and you touched on that you'll be out in commentating in Spain, and we see you on the fairways at most LET events, and especially all the big ones, of course. How do you find that? How much do you enjoy that? And how have you found the transition from obviously playing to now, being behind the mic?
Yeah, do you know what? You'd be surprised. I don't do that much. I'm not on the fairways at all, thank God, because I just can't. Between feet and back.
I see you in a buggy every now and again, checking the course out.
Yeah, but that's to commentate.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Commentating, I probably do about 5 a year, if that. But
Okay.
yeah, or I'm in the studio. I'm in the studio a fair bit, so I'll do stuff. Not yeah. I love the commentating. I love being I don't like the on-course stuff because, like I say, I just can't do it. It's too much, too hard on my back. I think that's been a big thing actually this year because I've done a few out in Asia as well, for IMG, for the LPGA events out there, and it very much it's the crew you're with as well. I love working with those guys. I love working with the Sky guys as well. It's a really good crew. You're good fun. You got to know your stuff. But watching the women play, I love it because they're so damn good. And you'll watch it, and I think I've said in my speech the other day, people have no idea how good the women are. They really don't. They're clueless. You got 180 yards, and they're hitting these hybrids in, and they're knocking them into 10 feet pin height every single time. Almost, it feels like so talented, and it makes you want to, or makes me, because I'm a bit obsessive about golf, makes me want to practice. So, like the AIG week, I actually broke my toe a couple of weeks back. I hit it on the side of a bed, walking around the bed, and I couldn't walk. And so and this is 2 weeks before I'm playing the US Senior Open, and I'm thinking, oh, bloody hell, this is, am I going to be able to play? And so I went to hit some balls in between the studio in Scotland, that's right, the week before AIG. I went to hit some balls at the driving range because I thought, I've got to know if I can play or what. So I'm hitting balls, and obviously I can't get off my right foot. So amazingly, I'm hitting these shots, and I did a bit of video because I'm hitting it great, and I thought, why is that? And it's because I'm staying down on my right side longer through the ball.
Because of your toe.
Yeah, it was excellent. So I get to the AIG and I'm commentating, but I'm not really I'm only doing Thursday to Sunday, and I'm not done. I've walked the course on the Monday, so I'm down looking at the range and stuff, and there's the Sky Zone down there. And of course, they've got balls down there, so I'm hitting balls the whole time in the Sky Zone, thinking, well, I'm going to be playing next week. So, and I'm watching the girls hitting balls, and I'm, you're trying things and you're doing this and that, and I think it just has given me like it's not a new lease of life because I've always loved it, but I almost really enjoy doing the two rather than just the one. I don't think I just like to commentate, and I don't think I just like to play. I just find the combo incredible because I love practicing so much. My only snag is because I don't play very much, is taking good practice onto the golf course. Because everybody knows you, and I could name you 20 players that are brilliant on the range, but that's very different to being good on the golf course. And even last week, after one round, I had to cut I played the practice round last week, and I was really struggling to walk because my little toe was killing. And I had a new pair of shoes, and I just didn't want to do it, but I knew I had to. So I cut a big chunk out of the shoe on the right-hand side so that my little toe didn't have anything pressing against it. And I was fine. That was it. That was brilliant. Then I could walk, and it was great. But I was getting physio every day, because it was hot as well, and it was hard walking. And I said, oh God, my feet are killing. Just, this is ridiculous. Why are they so bad? And she said, well, when's the last time you played golf? And I said, well, it was, I didn't play last week because I broke my toe. The week before was the AIG, didn't play that week. The week before that was Evian, didn't play that week. And the week before that was Scotland, so I didn't play that. I said, well, it was 5 weeks ago. That's the last round of golf. And it's walking around the golf course is because I walked after the first day, I get back and my God, my legs hurt, So it's the combination of, I love practicing, I can practice all day long, but that is not walking. You're just staying in one place. And that's why I don't really do the on-course, because if I'm playing, I'm moving, twisting, my back is okay. If I'm on course and I've got a backpack and I'm just standing still, I can't walk. I'll be knackered by the end of the day, totally. So, to cut a long story short, I love doing the combo, I think, and it's a really healthy combo for me. And it seems to work really well because I get the best, I almost get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, almost like dream job, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, obviously you touched there on the standard of golf and women's golf in particular. I mean, you've been there, you've seen it all. I mean, how much has it, the standard and the quality and just the golf and just everything in general, how much has it changed, would you say, throughout your career? I mean, I know you're still coming back to compete on LET events now. You were there in 1987 in your first year. Within that period, I mean, how much has it changed?
I think if I'm honest, the standard of the winners hasn't changed because the winners standard is always ridiculously high. What has changed is the amount of players that are capable of winning, I'd say. And more than anything is, back in our day, maybe Laura, trying to think, someone like Kelly Robbins, there were a couple of people, Michelle McGann, but Laura hit it so much further than everybody else, and there were a lot of players that were, or not a lot of players that hit it absolutely miles. Now, everybody does. Everybody. I mean, I'll turn up and play with two people I've never heard of and think, oh my God, no, 40 yards behind them again, But I think that is part and parcel of technology, of the equipment, of the three things. Fitness, which is obviously nothing we had. We didn't even have physios on tour when we were playing to begin with. So fitness, equipment, and technology. Those are the three things that have changed beyond belief. And though you've got TrackMan, it basically tells you how to play golf. If you know what if you know it's what it means, and you know it how it talks to you, you can literally make a golf swing fit a shot. Well, we were guessing. Literally would hit a shot and it would draw. What do you reckon to that? Well, yeah, and there weren't even videos, hardly. So it's very different. I enjoyed. I'm glad I grew up in the era I did, because I don't.
That's what I was going to ask. My next question.
Yeah, now, if I had my mindset now, I think I would love being a pro now, growing up with TrackMan and stuff, because I think you've got no excuses, absolutely none. If you've got the work ethic and you've got the mindset, you're going to be the best. But it's not as much fun. It's not. You don't see as much creation. That's why when you see someone that's got different shots, that's why Laura was so incredible, because she can hit such. She had such imagination, and I think that players of yesteryear had more imagination, definitely, because the clubs today kind of make that. You don't need that. You got the hybrids and all the. Most pros have only got 6-iron onwards down in their bag. I remember Dale Reed, she had a 1-iron, and she could hit her 1-iron like an arrow and that fly, and it was amazing. So I think the ability in your body and your hands has been taken out of the game a little bit by the technology. That doesn't mean players aren't as good as it. It's just that's what I see. And that's why I am, when I walk up and down the range and watch the women, I'm so intrigued if I see someone that's a little bit different. And, someone's on there hitting draws and hitting fades and hitting, rather than just the bog standard. And, then it's like Lynn Grant, she's she's sort of, I love watching her play, because it's just flipping lash it, but she's got all the shots, all the different shots. And yeah, it's interesting to see. But the bottom line is, has the mentality changed about winners? No, that never changes. If I'm honest, I think probably when I look at the era I played in, there were more winners back then. The mentality was was stronger. I could name you 20 players off the bat that were just brutal to play against, to frighten the life out of me, because they were so intense and had such a win at all costs sort of attitude. And it was, and I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe because there's so much more money now than there used to be, that maybe isn't the be all and end all. You can make a lot of money if you finish second, third, fourth, fifth. You couldn't back then. You had to be a winner. But that doesn't take away. I absolutely love watching the women's game. I think it's an incredible standard, and it's just going to keep getting better and better. And the prize funds, and we have to keep working towards that. So we can't lose sight of that, because the Open is 9 million now. That only applies to a certain amount of our tour. And I know everybody's working hard. Just have to keep working to make it bigger and better. Sponsors have to, want to up the prize funds, because the standard is of ridiculous quality. TV has to get better as well. That's
what I was going to ask. How much that then? Because I always think a big part of that comes down to more TV coverage and getting and showcasing the quality, because then the sponsors will see how good it is, as we know it is, and they're gonna push up the purses, aren't they? So I think TV is sort of at the core there, and media coverage.
TV's massive, and I'm not sure if it's the amount, but the quality has to get better. There's no two ways about that, and that's down to the TV companies. You've got to have more cameras showing more people, so yeah, the TV has to get the quality has to get better. everybody, listen, it's like anything in life. You don't point to one thing. You point to the whole package. Whether it be the players have to get better, well, they're doing their bit, if I'm honest. So everybody else has to get better as well. There was a time maybe 10 years ago that you could say, well, there's just not the amount of players, there's not the quality. Well, that's not true anymore. That just is not true. There are absolutely bundles of great players, and they all need to be showcased.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned going along the range, looking at players you admire. I know you just touched on Lynn Grant there. Players that excite you. Who are those players, then, Trish? Who, I know you said Lynn, but who are the players you really look forward to watching in women's golf?
I really look forward to watching Nelly Corder. Every time I watch Nelly, I think, cool, there could be a 62 out here. She's so incredibly capable. It's frightening because she's just I mean, myself and Sarah were in the studio for about 3 weeks on the trot, Sturkey, and every time she comes on, we think, oh my god, this is and it's just not there. Now, it might be she's been injured, she's been ill, but she's exceptional quality, ridiculously so. Rose Zhang, the new kid on the block. I mean, you come out and you win your first tournament. It's just and she's one that she's got personality. It'll be interesting because her golf game is not. She's not someone that you would watch and think, wow. Everything about her is 9 out of 10. Everything, even down to listening to her talk to commentators, or her first interview was like absolutely. We thought, oh my god, brilliant. Rose is fantastic. That's what I'm saying. So she was a real breath of fresh air. Playing wise, who else? I love watching Lilia Vu. Good, top player. Really, really.
Putter, great putter as well. You think that her game is a bit of an explosive player and attacking pins, but yeah.
Charlie's just like, well, you just do not know what you're going to get. But it's so entertaining, and she's entertaining.
She's great. I mean, we saw that at the AIG. I've never seen anything like that in the women's game. I mean, I know you were there as well, but the way that she captivated that crowd, people of all ages, both genders, it was like, wow, this is, and it's a testament to how she plays the game, isn't it? It was absolutely incredible to watch that week. I mean, I know we have it for ifs and buts in golf, but if she had won that, I mean, it just would have been huge for British golf, for golf in general. Not just women's golf. It would have been incredible. It still was. I mean, what that tournament did was great. But if we'd have just had that Charlie winner, it was special.
Yeah, it would have been exceptional. But
Vu's story itself is amazing. I mean,
it is.
Coming from the Epsom Tour and losing her card, and now a double major winner before she's even teed up in the Solheim Cup. I mean, that's like unheard of.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
Good one. And just a couple more then, Trish, before we do let you go, because I know you've been jetting around the world, winning tournaments, and you're back off the boss, aren't you?
Yeah, listen, when I've won a tournament, you can talk to me.
Got you at the best time. Yeah. Obviously, on the LET, our race to Costa del Sol is nearing its conclusion now. I mean, we've had a lot of movement in the top 10 recently. It's getting sort of crunch time. I mean, how do you look at obviously our race and who do you think's in with the best chance, and go give it a quick look. But who's caught your eye on the LET this season, and how do you think that's shaping up? I mean, we've obviously got Boutier's back at the top now. Back at the top. She stormed to the top after those two wins. But I mean, you look down the list. I mean, who do you think's in with a shot? I guess.
Well, it's on the difficulties. It's on points, George. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. How many points do you get for a win? Is it 500?
500 for a win. Obviously, the bigger events are weighted more.
But the bigger events have gone now, so they're all over.
Bigger events are gone, which is why it's sort of a bit more interesting now. And we know Boutier won't play in the events. Anna Pelayev, who I know you're a big admirer of, has obviously had a brilliant year. She's still at number 2.
Well, she has to be at the moment. She has to be your favourite. She's less than 300 points behind, and you would think, like you say, Boutier won't play again unless Aditi comes back. Ashok. I actually spoke to her on the range at AIG, and I'd never met her before. And she had, who'd she have caddying for? Ollie.
That's funny. I saw you speaking to her, and it was as if you'd been friends for years. Well, she had Ollie. Yeah, she had Ollie on the bag.
It was such a lovely surprise because I was talking to Ollie, and she sort of looked up. And normally, if they know me, I might get a bit of, but no. And she just came over and she said, "Oh, I remember." She said, "The first time I saw you, you were playing in Bangalore," and I said, Oh, flipping heck, yeah.
Wow.
So we stayed in that, and then we had a long chat, and she was so engaged in the whole chat. It was lovely, and I'd never met her before. I've never really seen her play. I've heard lots of people say what an incredible putter, but I think I think she's a bit more than that. To be fair, you don't just become multiple winner with that. But I was so that really that's the sort of thing I love. That someone then just has got enough about them to chat about. Right, she's from Bangalore and she knew all about. And I mentioned a few things we did, and she said, "Oh yeah, God, you did that and you did this and the place we stayed at, and she knew all about So it was really engaged, and that was great. And she's in third place. She's only 400 points, 420 points behind. If she comes back and plays in the last, I don't know how much these people think that the LET Order of Merit matters, but I tell you what, it matters. It really does matter. If you've won the money list, whatever you want to call it, race to Costa del Sol in your career, that's a massive thing. Because that year, it means regardless of anything else, you're the best player on that.
Yeah, I mentioned this someone like even Celine Boutier, who's just won a major and is obviously a superstar in the LPGA, having that on her resume towards the
Well, I'd
end of
like
the
to
season to
play
get.
in France. I'd like
Yeah,
to play.
yeah,
Play
she's down for the Lacoste.
Yeah, and then
And
if
you've
she
got then
wins that
the end event. So
Andalus there, yeah. Diksha Dagger, what a year she's had. I mean, just incredible. Obviously left-handed, very unusual style as well. Incredibly weak grip and upright backswing, but I mean, I have to say, you have to really take your hat off. Clara Spilkova and Olivia Cowan, what a year she's had. Really good year. Really strong player. Cara Gaynor is another one that's had an amazing year. Really top.
well, I
And
was going to
Gabs,
say, you look at that list, the amount of English
good.
players now in the top
Yeah.
20.
Well, you've got that list of Cara Gaynor, Charlie, okay, Gabs Cowley. So I didn't see that. What was the length of the putt that she had to win?
5-6 feet.
Oh, okay. Because I've heard everything from 2 feet to 4-5. I mean, it's a big difference between a 4-5 footer and a 2-footer. But it's 4-5 feet, was it? I was so gutted for her. I would have loved to have seen Gabs win that.
But
She'd have
it's
got
coming. Her win's coming. I know.
And I have to say, there's two more here. Lily Mae Humphreys, brilliant. What a great year she's had. And Carmen Alonso. Oh, hats off to Carmen. She's been out there donkey's years, and she's always been a cracking player. And then she gets her first win after nearly 20 years?
19 years on tour.
19 years. I was so chuffed to see that.
Oh, it was incredible. We were in Finland.
Amazing.
Yeah. 251st start it was for her.
It's brilliant. What a great story. That just gives hope, doesn't it, to everybody that's ever played the game professionally, that if someone can do that. I mean, she's always been top class, really. You've always hit it miles. You've always thought, how's she not won? But then to have the guts and the endeavour and the just the determination to keep going, that's you just have to say that's what golf is all about. That's what makes it so amazing. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
There we go. See, you've summed it up perfectly for us there. Tune into the LET, listen to Trish. It was absolutely. It's anyone's game. I think it's actually getting pretty interesting. So we'll see how it plays out. Right, Trish, to finish, I have put together one of my tricky quizzes for you, which where we like to test our past and present players on their own LET careers.
Oh God!
So I thought you would be really good at this, but now you're getting me a bit worried because I've made it quite tricky. But
go on,
we shall see. Right, I've got 6 questions here, so let's see how you do. Starting from, but you're on already one at the minute. You just won on the weekend, so you can win this quiz. Right, first question then. So this, I think, start easy. We'll get a bit trickier. So you obviously won LET Rookie of the Year in 1987. Who was the LET Player of the Year that year?
It's a wicked question. That.
I thought that would have been an easy one for you.
What? Who won the money list? Well, it wasn't me.
Yeah. Who won the money list? 1987.
87.
It was one of the big names.
I'll go for Reedy. Dale.
Yes. There we
go.
go.
Get in there, you beauty. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This one, I was like, wow. I did some research into your wins, and I was like, this is an insane stat. No, this is impressive. So you won 19 times on the LET. How many of those were in playoffs?
Oh, that should be easy. Right, I lost my first one the first year. then I in France in a playoff, and I think I beat Marie Law. Did I beat Marie Law in a playoff? I will go for. Oh Jesus! 2.
Yeah, I've got 2 here. France, as you said, and you won your first ever win was a playoff. So
Yeah.
I've got the
Oh,
87. Yeah, Karen Lan in the Wirral
Golden.
Classic.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I lost to Mary. That's right. So I lost to Mary Law, and I lost to.
But you won.
Jane
You won
Flanagan.
your first one. Is your one win in 19. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I've got you one win in a playoff, and the losses in France. Sorry. So yeah, which is so just one win in 19. That I thought 19. Oh, there's going to be because I was going to make the question: who have you beaten in a playoff? And then I was like, hang on, you've only got the one win in the playoff.
I
Which
could
is,
do that. I knew
yeah.
that. I know.
But that's
Right.
like wow, to 19 wins, only one in the playoff, and some dominant wins in there. I mean, you won by 6, 7, 8, 9 shots. Okay, that's two. Well, I'll give you that 2 from 2, Trish. So
Good start.
this, I mean, these are tough, but they're more just to showcase your great career. If you get them wrong, we can still go about you. So in total, you made 62 cuts on the LET. If you add them all up, consecutive cuts. Sorry. So
I was going to say, Jesus.
yeah.
Not too swift, is it? Yes.
So in total, you made 62 consecutive cuts. But can you tell me what was your best run within that? So your best cut run?
I wouldn't even know about cuts.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's not even on your mind?
Hang on a sec. So you just said I made 62 consecutive. Well, that's my best run then.
Well, no, like added up. So you made 5 consecutive here, 10 consecutive here, 62 consecutive added up. If that makes any sense to you. So
No,
you
it
might have
doesn't.
had a run where you made 9 consecutive, and
Yeah.
then you might have missed one, and then like a year later you might have had a run of 10 consecutive cuts, and then 4 years later you had a run of like 13 consecutive cuts. Add them all up, you had 62 consecutive cuts.
Okay. I don't know what the answer is. 60. I don't know.
So
what
you made 29 consecutive cuts.
I
Is your
see.
best run, and
Ever.
that was in
What year?
August 2012 to June 2014. So fairly recent. You made 29 consecutive cuts, 29 in a row.
Oh, I could not have answered that in a
Yeah,
million.
that was a real tough one, but I thought it was a good stat. So
Okay, that's
a lot of these
interesting.
are good
Where
stats.
do you find these stats then? I can't.
This is on. See that it was a weird one actually. Now you say it, I'm like, well, it's not 62, is it? But it was in our big LET stats. I'm going to send it to you afterwards, Trish. You'll have a field day with it. Because you made the second most, I think, added up consecutive, and your best run was 29 in a row.
29. Okay.
So put that in the locker. This one, I'm not sure you'll get. It's actually really tough, but it's a good one again. So in the list of the players with the most top 10 finishes in the LET, right? You're second. So you had 111 top 10 finishes in LET history. But which tournament did you have the most top 10 finishes in?
Oh, it's got to be France.
No, France was 9, as was the Women's Open, of course. You had 9, which is technically an LET event. But there was one event where you had one tournament, which isn't a tournament anymore, and you made 10 top 10 finishes in it. Can you tell me which tournament?
Well, we haven't had an English Open that many times, so it's not that. We haven't had a Welsh either.
It's a very rogue tournament, I would say, and it's not a tournament.
It's a what?
Anymore. Rogue, yeah, like it's it's a rat. Well,
random sort of event, is it?
No, I think so. Well, maybe the youngster in me is saying that.
Germany?
No, I think Germany was 8. You had, and it was the back when it was called the European Masters, wasn't it? You had
European
8.
Masters go on. You're gonna have to tell me this one.
The Ladies Slovak Open had 10 top 10 finishes.
Good God, I didn't even know we had that.
So I was right to call it a rogue tournament.
Yeah. What brilliant! Oh, my God, that was such a good event. Absolutely incredible. Good events aren't just about the golf course, because the golf course was actually ridiculous because it was a ski resort in the winter, so you can imagine how hilly it was. But you got a great sponsor. And so they really look after you. They do all these different things. And you've got an amazing, well, it was a very basic hotel, but the hotel was right there on site. And there's great food, just a great atmosphere. And that was I reckon if you asked anybody, like the Slovakian Open, what was that like? They'd say, yeah, it was just top notch. Yeah, it was brilliant. Good fun. Oh, I wouldn't have got that. Sorry, no.
That's a good one. What would you say is like down the years, like what was like the best event always
Best
playing
event.
on?
Well, the one I always loved playing, but unfortunately we always played on pretty basic golf courses because it was sponsored a lot by Board Fulshire, which was the Irish Tourist Board. So they always wanted us to go to a brand new golf course. So we kept going to brand new golf courses, which invariably, let's be honest, weren't in the best nick. But the Irish Opens were just amazing because the people just, they used to come out in their droves. There'd be millions of people out watching, and they're just, they just love it, and they're just, and they
Everyone says the Irish, yeah.
just
It's
yeah.
probably the most popular answer. And even this week, I'm not there, which sucks. It's one of the few events I'm not doing. And I said, it's the best event of the year, the Irish. Best
Brilliant.
crowds, proper golf fans as well,
Yeah.
appreciative of what they're watching. And
Yeah, I mean, honestly, British golf fans are the best because they come out in the, you just always have. Well, look at, if you put the tournament in the right part of the country, like the AIG at Walton Heath, flipping hell.
Yeah, I was a bit skeptical because I was thinking, the Open, put it at links course, but it was actually phenomenal the way they did it, and it was more linksy than I
Yeah, it was a better
anyway.
golf course than you thought, probably.
Yeah, and then like you say, because logistically it made sense. It was it just heightened the event, didn't it?
It was amazing. I've never seen so many people out there. It was just wonderful, really was. And look, if you're playing golf in front of no fans, you're just playing golf. But if you've got that changes the atmosphere so dramatically that it actually makes a huge difference to, and it can make a good or bad difference, And it's interesting when you think, you go back to sort of COVID years who won tournaments when COVID was on? Are they still winning? Did they win because there weren't any fans? Because there wasn't that noise, and that atmosphere that can make or break you, depending on your character. It's an interesting. When you look at Charlie, she looked totally enthused by having all those people. That spurred her on without a shadow of a doubt. I can't remember who won tournaments during COVID, but it would be interesting to go back and look and see if they're still the same people that are winning tournaments with there's people about. So,
well, even Lilia, said how it was the best crowd she played in.
She did, yeah, which was great.
Says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Right, 2 more, Trish, and we'll let you go. Right, this is like a two-parter, but you should get the first one. So, you've made 1 albatross in your LET career. Can you tell me when it was? I would still have the golf ball. I would have it framed. I know.
Do you know what?
A career like yours, this probably means nothing, but I'd make an albatross. Surely you don't forget it.
I know, you wouldn't think so. My dad used to get so annoyed with me because if I won a tournament or had a hole in one, I'd just chuck and I used to do it on purpose because I knew it annoyed him, which was terrible, really. Sorry, Dad. And I'd chuck the ball away because it just meant nothing. And an albatross, right? So I've not had a hole in one on a par 4, have I?
No.
No, good. So I
have it as a 2 on a 5.
2 on a par 5. Bloody hell! I've had a 2 on a par 5. That must have been a first. Well, obviously.
I had to really go into the records for this one.
Give us a year.
Let's my notes up. 2008. Let me double check that. I've got it right here, actually. It was 2008, yeah. Round 3, and it was the 8th hole. What was the tournament? I tell you, our records are good.
That's incredible. How have you got that? Germany.
No, I'll give you a clue. Think Suzanne Pettersson.
Oh. Well, we had one event in Norway, but did I? Really?
Yeah. So is it the SAS Ladies Masters?
Yeah.
2008.
Wow.
1 albatross in the par 5. There it is.
Goodness gracious! I would not have got that.
There we go. There.
What I don't know about myself,
I'll send you these stats, Trish.
Okay.
you need them.
Yeah, I do.
We'll do
embarrassing.
Second. Next time I see you, I'm going to quiz you again. Second round 2. Yeah, and final one. This is a bit of a fun one. Well, they're all fun ones, but can you give me a rough guess? Because I don't think you'll know the number. Well, if you did know the number, it would be absolutely incredible. But the amount of birdies you've made on the LET.
How long have I been playing? 30 years. Do you know what? I could be out by. I wouldn't. Hang on. I'm just going to go on a sort of average. So 30, let's say I play 20 tournaments a year, 12 a week, 12 a week, 120, 240 times 30, 240. So 2004, 200, hang on, 200, what did I say? 240 times 30. Yeah, so 240 times 10 is 2,004. About 6,000.
I've got here 2,899. It's the worry if you overshot yourself, wasn't it? But maybe our records are not as extensive as they make out. That's what I've got you here.
Yes.
on
How
our
many? 2,000?
899.
That doesn't sound many at all. Right.
I'm going to flag it.
No, I probably got my maths wrong there very much. Only by 3,000. I was over upping myself there.
This is what if you click on your profile on the official LET website. That's what got you as Trish, but we can.
I didn't even know you had these stats.
Oh
so
yeah.
What do you do? You can put your name in.
Yeah.
And then you.
This is on. Yes, if you go onto LET and go
This
onto
one says I'm.
players.
This one says dead. No, still alive. Come on.
Yeah, there you are. 411 tournaments played, 19 wins, 119 top 10 finishes.
Seconds is annoying. That's annoying. That's a really annoying stat.
Yeah, it's like what ifs, isn't it?
That bugs you. That really does. Career highlights, is it?
There it is. Career rankings, total number of birdies. And I believe, I know you've got the most pars in LET history, which I don't know if you want to hear that or not, but
Not really.
and that was, how many was that? God, we could look at these for ages, but most pars, total number of pars. Trish Johnson, 9,796 pars, and like I say, just shy of 3,000 birdies, according to our records. So,
well, that is fascinating. I don't know where you. I haven't found that on the app. It's not on the app, that is it?
okay, no,
Anyway.
it's not on the website. So,
My God, well, that's very interesting.
yeah,
Thanks, George.
No problem at all. Like I say, I'll send it to you. But no, good stuff. And we'll wrap it up, Trish, because we were speaking for way over an hour, and yeah,
Thank you.
It's been really good. No, thanks for coming on again. Huge congratulations for winning in Portland, winning the USGA Women's Senior Open. Of course, I can tell you're still beaming about it. So, even though you're flying off to Boston on Monday, do enjoy the celebrations because you've earned it. And it was a brilliant win. So,
thanks very much, George.
Thanks for joining us. I'll see you at Solheim, I guess.
Look forward to it. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
It's a competition clinching shot. Whoa! How about that?
The LET Golf Podcast, the official podcast of the Ladies European Tour.